Hi, Peter.
Hi, Martin. Good to see you.
We just found out we know one another for almost 10 years, but we are meeting one another for the first time in person.
It is. It's amazing to finally meet you in person. Like we've had
And that's
so
the
many
magic of the conference, right?
That is true. That's
really
why we're
make
here.
real connections.
That is why we're here. Even if we've made those connections years ago, online, if we see each other in person, it feels like we see old friends.
Yeah. So thank you for coming up. I would want to talk about Polaris, what you do, something about the wind, but something in the discussion we had before this recording started struck me. I said, oh, the layout is somewhat suboptimal.
Yes.
And you're doing services for solution partners, for marketplace vendors, I understand.
Yes, indeed.
So that's kind of like your business. So tell me a little bit about it. What's your critique?
My critique here is that when you walk in, there's this empty corridor, and then you're suddenly in the event, but there's no incentive for any of the audience to go to the right side of the expo hall. So you go straight ahead to the food, and then you go straight back out to all of the keynotes and events and sessions and those kind of things. But where's the incentive to explore the expo hall? To go and talk to all of these wonderful people and the marketplace partners and solution partners, to go and stuff a panda. That's the Pledge 1% booth. All of those things, there's no real incentive. And I've seen that a lot of people just ignore it. There's less traction for all the marketplace partners, and that's not a good thing. From an organizer point of view, from a sponsorship point of view, like these marketplace partners pay a lot of money to be here. They need to get something out of it. From an event organizer's point of view, you need to make sure there's like an easy way for people to naturally walk past these booths, talk to these people. Of course, it's up to the marketplace vendors to talk to the people and come up with a good story. But I feel it's up to the events to make it as natural as possible for people to just wander around.
To be around, yeah.
And be there. And with this layout, I feel like there's a missed opportunity. I feel like the keynote should have been in here, and should have been basically in a corner beyond all of the booths. So people would have to walk past the booths to get to the keynote, and again, to get to the food. So I feel that's definitely suboptimal. I also feel that like last year's layout was better, and also that last year's conference floor felt more, how do you say this properly in English? Cozy, better laid out, more like an Atlassian event it used to be. More like a friendly bunch of people coming together, having fun, having those conversations. To me, kind of feels too professional in one way or another.
It's much bigger, the layout this year,
It's
right?
much bigger, but there's no more, it's bigger, but there's just wider open spaces in between everything. And so I felt like it should have been a bit more comfortable, comfy, more natural way of wandering around, like discovering all kinds of cool things everywhere. I feel that's less this year than it was last year.
Yeah, I have heard from others the thing with the entry, so a long tunnel that you have to go through.
Yes, it's just
no one
weird.
understood that. And also that the keynote is somewhere completely separate, and you don't have to go through the expo hall to get to the keynote, has been something that people have complained about even before the event started. And I think that's really a downside.
Yeah, I think it's having all of the sessions be outside makes it less interesting for people to be in the expo hall floor. And then having the foods be directly across from the entrance means that if you have a booth on that aisle, it's awesome. But everybody else is, well, negatively impacted because there's no incentive for those kind of things.
Yeah, cool point. Let's shift gears a little to you as a partner for partners. You're helping them with such things, obviously.
So I provide services to marketplace partners. So I've been in the ecosystem for 15 years. Is it only
apps or also solution partners?
Whoever needs my services. I've been here for so long, I have a very unique background and skill sets, and my passion is about helping others excel at what they do.
And you've been with Atlassian for a longer time as well,
I've been with Atlassian for over 4.5 years, focused on marketplace partners and the marketplace and the ecosystem. I've been a solution partner before that. I've been a marketplace partner after that.
But people dream of working for Atlassian. Why did you stop?
I left because I wanted to grow into a leadership role. I wanted to explore my own leadership capabilities, and I couldn't get an opportunity at Atlassian.
Okay.
And so I went to MongoDB and became their global director of developer community programs. I ran developer community programs for 2.5 million developers. I had an amazing time there. I worked with wonderful people, but I missed the Atlassian world.
Okay.
I missed the people like you, Martin. I missed like so many people, like Raymond, like Igor, like Nick, like Daniel, like John and whatever. All of those people who've been here for over a decade. I like working with all of you. And I felt like I have a unique skill set that they can use. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to try this out. I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to name it after the North Star because it helps people give direction, has done it for centuries. And I feel like I can help with my unique skill set. So the 3 services I try to offer, there are more, but those are the 3 main ones, are community-driven growth. How can your company benefit from the power of the Atlassian community in a way that's valuable both for you as a company, but also for the community, in a way that's authentic, that creates long-term relationships with community members, with Atlassian user group leaders, turns them into champions and advocates for you and your apps and your company. I've seen it done really well. I've seen it done really poorly. So I want to help new partners and existing partners in doing this well. I help with business and marketing strategies specifically tailored to the Atlassian world. You don't need this, of course. You've been doing it amazingly for the last decade. But a lot of new partners come in from other ecosystems. And they're like, oh, I'll just apply what I learned at the AWS ecosystem or in the GCP ecosystem.
That doesn't work like this?
Okay. It doesn't work like this. Surprise, surprise.
Tell us a little bit about what's the difference if you're knowing more than this one ecosystem.
So one of the things I feel is the difference is that the Atlassian ecosystem is very much about personal relationships. Even though it's sometimes between companies, they still feel like personal relationships. It's very much about what's your brand as a company and as a person, and how does it relate to the Atlassian values. Those values, those 5 simple values, are still very much alive in this ecosystem. And people really, sometimes unconsciously, apply them to the relationships with companies. So if a company comes in and is like too pushy on the sales, or just about, well, I don't want to listen to your story, I just want to tell you mine, people will subconsciously take a step back. While if you go to GCP or AWS, they're used to it. It's like, okay, I'm here to get sold to, and I'm giving you honest feedback, and that's about it. I feel like in the Atlassian ecosystem, there's much more of a value bi-directional stream. Okay, tell me your story, I'll tell you mine, let's see if we can work together. It's much more on a personal level that people build those connections, but they're also very much long-term.
Some mean people would say it's just not as mature as the others. Because
I actually believe it's more humane than the others.
Yeah.
I don't
fully agree. At the same time, I do see a lot of that, let's say, mean behavior spreading in the ecosystem as well.
It is. I've also seen that it often backfires eventually on the companies. And one of the reasons there is because the Atlassian community itself is so strong and really empowers those values, because every single Atlassian community leader, every single person who's really active in that community and has opinions, wants to have the humane side.
Yeah.
And I feel it's kind of a way for like all of those more mean people, or the intelligent a-holes, like you want to say, to check out and just go to the other ecosystems. Because there are other places out there where they can be more successful, and that's good for them. But I feel that's what makes the Atlassian ecosystem pretty unique, but makes it sometimes difficult for people who are used to that mean way of working. I
also think that the diversity is something that doesn't only go in one direction. So this, let's say, aggressive elements belong here just as well, in my opinion. We don't know one another that well, but I'm not fostering that. I'm totally on your side on the humane things, and we try to do compounding things that will have long-term effects because we're in this long game. But I do respect those people who find the shortcut. And do you know the difference between book smart and street smart?
Yes.
And like the street smart people that just find this, like when you in this action movie, when you want to go around the corner and then you toss the thing on the side and you slide around the corner and the police can't do it, and then off you go. And it's kind of like you can only do it once, but if you do it once, it will work and may have astounding effects. I think that's valid as well.
It is valid. It's one way of doing it.
But it's only happening one time, so I can't be doing it. I can only do things
It's
that
a
you can...
one-trick pony is what I say in English. I always think about the difference between intelligence and wisdom. Intelligence is knowing how to do it. Wisdom is knowing if you should even do it.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of wisdom in the Atlassian world too.
Yeah.
And of course, there's always going to be people trying shortcuts, and sometimes those will work and sometimes they won't. But I feel in general there's a lot of wisdom in this community.
But isn't it like a sad thing if there are people trying hard, trying the right way, and then losing to someone who's using that shortcut? Isn't that like the ultimate thing? Why we say it's mean?
That is true. It's sad. Unfortunately, life isn't always happy, joy. Unfortunately, sometimes you just need to have luck, be the right person, the right time, with the right story. Sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes life is shitty. I actually created a t-shirt which says, there are 4 basic emotions. 3 of them suck. And that's because, honestly, I hate all of the goody, happy, joy stuff on Facebook and Instagram and whatever. Because life isn't like that. Business isn't like that. But I do believe that if you have a good story, if you have the right mindset, you will eventually get there.
What's your Big Mac so far? So if people come to you, what do they end up buying? What's the service? What do you deliver? If you want to say what it costs, what's the outcome? Give us a picture.
So what most people come to me for is that community-driven growth. Because they understand that the community is massive. They also understand it's really difficult to fully grasp it and get a hold while doing all the other things. Like, you're super busy running your company, you don't have time to find out who are the ace leaders of all of the different chapters you want to talk to, you don't have time to plan all of the travel you want to do, you don't have time to write content or create a presentation and those type of things. You don't want to do presentations and content because maybe you're just a developer who wants to code. So that's something I feel like a lot of people want to help, especially because they feel like, okay, this Atlassian community is very powerful to do things for good, to help you build those long-term relationships and really grow exponentially. But it's a lot of hard work, and I can be that shortcut for you. So that's something I feel a lot. And then the other part I feel a lot of people are interested in.
And this is a service engagement.
That's a service engagement. So that's a service engagement where you can say, for example, hey Peter, I buy 1 slice of your time, which is 1 day a week for, let's say, 3 months or 6 months, whatever. And then I work with you to understand your business strategy, I create a community strategy for you, and then I help with the implementation. The other part I see a lot of people are interested in is EMEA representation. So there's a lot of smaller partners in, let's say, APAC or the US who don't have anybody in EMEA and don't have the funds to hire somebody in EMEA. So I can be their fractional boots on the ground and be the representative, go talk to an event about their apps, do all of those things. So those are the 2 main ones. The other one I found that especially C-level executives are interested in is I can be their inside-outside voice. So I have a lot of information, knowledge, network, which makes me an insider, but I'm outside of their corporation and their organization. So I'm not afraid to push back, give you an honest answer. Say no when you want me to say yes, because I don't report into you.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like
the benefits of the consultant.
The benefits of the consultants. Also, they always say it depends, but yes, the benefits of the consultants.
Okay, let's shift gears a little bit. We're here at Atlassian Teams in 2024. There have been a lot of announcements. What's your highlights?
I love the fact how Atlassian is integrating AI in a way that is actually valuable for the way people work. It's not just a gimmick, it's like integrated everywhere as a team member. So I really like how they do that. I'm interested to see how Rovo is going to change things up with all of the different agents and how creative people are going to be with creating it. I already have a couple of ideas.
Okay. Are you a coder yourself?
I'm a recovering Java developer.
Okay.
I'm a nerd who loves talking to people and love working with people.
So you could be creating agents yourself as well?
I already have 3 in mind I want to create, just for fun.
Okay,
and maybe put on the marketplace, who knows. I think that one is really big. I do have questions. Being from Belgium, we have 3 official languages, none of them is English. But for example, the Belgian government has documentation in all 3 of those official languages plus English. how well would Atlassian Intelligence handle those kind of things? A Google document in French, a Word document in German, an Excel in Dutch, and then some Confluence Space in English. How well would Rover then still know about Project Blueberry across all of those different languages? How well would it be able to translate all of those things? So that is something, and I've talked to the Atlassian folks about it yet, and they don't really have an answer yet. It's very much focused on English first.
It should be better than we think on that end. But I'm using ChatGPT a lot for translations nowadays, so...
Yeah, well, translation's okay, but just like really grabbing the context and figuring out all of those different things, like that's...
We don't know until we get there.
Indeed. So I'm very much looking forward to playing around with it, seeing what it does, building those agents.
Peter, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me, Martin.
So
it's great finally meeting you in person.
Yeah, thank you so much. Ditto. Ciao.